So thanks to Congress's new change, Social Security recipients can receive up to $1,700 every month, and the fourth round of stimulus check has been proposed. Be sure to stay until the end of this video, folks, if you want to know the latest news about the fourth stimulus check.
Good afternoon. Please sit down. Before I begin, I want to comment on the tragedy that occurred last night during the holiday parade in Wisconsin. While we don't have all the facts and details yet, we know this morning that 5 families in Waukesha are facing fresh grief of a life without a loved one. At least 40 Americans are suffering from injuries, some of them in critical condition. And an entire community is struggling to cope with the horrific act of violence. Last night, people of Waukesha were gathered to celebrate the start of a season of hope and togetherness and Thanksgiving. This morning, Jill and I and the entire Biden family, and I'm sure all of us, pray that that same spirit's going to embrace and lift up all the victims of this tragedy, bringing comfort to those recovering from the injuries, and wrapping the families of those who died in the support of their community. We're all grateful for the extraordinary work of the first responders, from law enforcement to emergency room doctors, who are working around the clock to deal with the terrible consequences of what happened last night. My administration is monitoring the situation very closely. But now, let me turn to today's announcement. 20 months ago, the COVID-19 pandemic exploded in America, creating the worst economic crisis we faced since the Great Depression, wreaking havoc not only on our economy, but the economies across the world. In just 2 months, over 20 million Americans lost their jobs, and unemployment rate shot up to 14.8%, the highest ever recorded in America. And all of you remember those scenes. Major cities and small towns, main streets that looked like ghost towns. Boarded up businesses, empty roads, empty highways, empty airports, and empty train stations. Offices were closed, schools were closed, and hospitals were taken to the breaking point. When you remember the depths of the crisis we faced, it's all the more amazing the progress that we've made since then. We've gone from an economy that was shut down to an economy that's leading the world in economic growth. We've gone from small businesses being shuttered to a record number of new small businesses starting up. And we've gone from a devastating job destruction to record new job creation. Don't get me wrong, we still have a long way to go to fully recover from all the pain and destruction caused by the pandemic. And we're still dealing with the difficult challenges and complications caused by COVID-19 that are driving up costs for American families. I know for a lot of Americans, things are still very hard. But if you look at all the facts, you can only come to one conclusion. We've made enormous progress in this country. First and foremost, our economy is creating jobs, lots of jobs. In fact, we've seen a record new job growth in America this year, 5.6 million jobs just since I was sworn in January the 20th. More jobs created at this point in a new presidency than ever before in American history. We have seen a dramatic drop in the unemployment rate from a high of 14.8% in April of 2020 to 4.6% today. Earlier this year, independent experts were predicting it would take until the end of 2023 to see unemployment that low. Our economy is creating new businesses, lots of new businesses. In fact, Americans are starting small businesses at a record rate, up 30% compared to before the pandemic. Economists will tell you that an increase in new businesses is one of the best signs of an economy that's becoming more innovative and more dynamic. And that's because small businesses aren't just the heart and soul of America. They're not just the bedrock of so many communities across the country. America's small businesses are the primary job creators, innovators, and drivers that power our economic progress. That's why it's a powerful statement of the faith about that we have in our country, where our country and our economy is heading, that small business creation is surging in America today. Which is why I'm proud to say, if you look at my presidency so far, it's a jobs presidency, and it's a small business presidency. So, if you look at the facts, here's what the record shows. Record job creation, record economic growth, record new small business creation. That's the story that should give us confidence about the economy that we're building. Confidence in ourselves, confidence in the future. Now, after years of wages being flat or falling behind, we're also seeing something else. Things are getting better for American workers. Higher wages, better benefits, more flexible schedules. Balance sheets for American families are better as well.
In 2021, the average monthly Social Security benefit came out to around $1,500. That's after a 5.9% cost of living adjustment, scheduled to go into effect next year. The average benefit will rise to about $1,700 according to the Social Security Administration. This means that the average couple could see roughly $3,000 a month. The roughly $100 increase comes after a year of unprecedented inflation. Over the past 12 months, prices have increased 6% in all major sectors, and that's especially important for our seniors. But Forbes estimates that the increase in benefits will benefit nearly 62 million Americans who received the Social Security benefits in January 2022. Americans who receive supplemental security income benefits will actually be able to see their increases a little sooner, as beginning on December 30th. The SSA estimates the increased payments to SSI beneficiaries will reach approximately 8 million people next year. According to Forbes, for those who receive SSI, this amount is expected to increase to $821 in 2022, up from $794 per month in 2021. The $47 increase will especially benefit the nearly 3 million Americans who receive both Social Security and SSI benefits together. So if you receive both SSI and regular Social Security payments in 2022, this can mean nearly a $2,500 per month check. If you are scheduled to be a recipient of benefits in 2022, the SSA will notify you via mail. Folks, the IRS has also issued more than 169 million payments in the third round of direct stimulus aid, with more than 2 million people in July receiving the $1,400 checks. But some lawmakers are pushing for a fourth round of stimulus aid. They would effectively send recurring payments until the end of the crisis. So far, the federal response to the economic crisis caused by the crisis has paid out $3,200 to eligible adults, $1,200 under the Aid Relief and Economic Security Act in March 2020, and $600 in the December relief measure, and the $1,400 under the American Rescue Plan. Despite that financial assistance, millions of Americans still remain in financial distress. Almost 1/4 of Americans have struggled to pay their household expenses over the past few months.